Michael Penix Jr. is in at quarterback for the Falcons. Should the Vikings keep Sam Darnold? And who's going to be the next head coach of the Jets? We're covering it all today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Hillsdale College. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started.
Joe, happy Friday to you here on the show. We have solicited the takes, courtesy of Twitter. So we are reacting to the best hot takes that Joe collected. I do not know what takes made the cut. I haven't seen most of the takes. I got tagged in some. So I'm just going to hand the baton back to you. Right. And we can dive into everybody's hot takes and give our takes on their takes here on Takes on Takes.
We'll start by giving somebody an opportunity to spike the ball. Josiah Jones on 8:15 sent to us that Travis Hunter will win the Heisman Trophy, and he nailed it. So we'll have a little ball spike here to start the episode. And I appreciated the way that Josiah sent this to me. It was a screenshot. You know what I mean? You could see the screenshot.
Yep.
Timestamp. Thank you. So if you want to spike the ball, but do it like that. August says, despite it turning out to be a good decision, the Falcons should not be celebrated for the Penix pick. The fact remains that they overpaid for a player past their prime, coming off an injury, and needed to hedge their bet with a top 10 pick to potentially save their season.
I think this is great ammunition for the idea of if there's a quarterback available, take the quarterback if you like the quarterback.
For me, Kyle, what I don't appreciate about this whole situation is that there's this belief that now anybody that was critical of Atlanta picking Michael Penix in the top 10, that you couldn't see the vision. No.
The Falcons didn't see this vision.
The Falcons absolutely deserve the criticism. Now, they're fortunate that they're in this position right now, and we don't know if Michael Penix is going to be good or not. We'll find out. But they made a terrible mistake signing Kirk Cousins, like a terrible mistake. And they deserve criticism for that. We're not here today if this Kirk Cousins situation worked out the way that they intended. They deserve plenty of criticism. I don't think it's fair to be critical of people that were critical of the pick because this is where we're at right now. This wasn't the plan, man. This was not the plan.
Right, because it's going to turn into $90 million for 14 games? I don't think that should be applauded regardless of how the foresight that they had with drafting Michael Penix. Don't sign 37-year-old Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles tear to a $90 million guaranteed contract. And they can't keep him because they'd owe him. You're going to have $10 million of guarantees for 2026 if he's on your roster. So what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins was Kirk's going to get cut, just like Russell Wilson did. And he's going to sign somewhere for presumably vet minimum where he is going to have the opportunity to start, and he likes the opportunity that he has. And he's going to have a base salary there of $1.2 million. And the Falcons are going to pay the rest of the $27.5 million, like the difference between whatever the minimum is and the $27.5 million that he is guaranteed. And he's going to get the rest of his money next year from that. And he's going to make $27.5 million next year playing for somebody else and earning the minimum, just like Russell Wilson's doing for the Steelers this year.
$6.4 million a start. We're going to celebrate this. I hope Penix is good, and I hope it works out. But the Atlanta Falcons, it's a big black eye is what this is. And
how many million is that per interception?
Oh, boy. How many does he have?
I won't be mean to Kirk. Like, I like Kirk Cousins a lot. He has 16 now. He has 18 touchdowns to 16 interceptions at this point.
So it's a lot of money per interception. Vontel. After the season, Anthony Richardson will be the only member on the Colts out of him, Shane Steichen, and Chris Ballard.
Ooh, that's fun. I don't think Irsay's got the stones to do all that at once. Do you?
Absolutely not. I think Steichen gets a third season.
You think Ballard's out?
I think he's the most likely to be out. But if I had to guess, I would say that they're all back.
If I had to guess, I would probably say they're all back as well. And Ballard's been given a lot of patience, right? He's been given a lot of grace for a team that, they had the Andrew Luck situation. What year was that? 18 or 17? Was that the year that happened?
I think so.
2017 Colts. This was the Jacoby Brissett and Scott Tolzien year. Scott Tolzien started games in 2017.
Curtis Painter didn't get any run there.
Oh, so, okay, here you go. So Luck got injured in 17, came back and played in 18, and they made it to the divisional round. And that was Ballard's second season. And then he retired, and it was Jacoby Brissett, Brian Hoyer. In the first year after Luck retired, they went 7-9 in 2019. But the time that's gone since, they made the playoffs once. Got a couple 9-win seasons here. Haven't won a playoff game. At what point is enough, right? I think there's a couple of general managers that have been given stability through adversity that are like that. It's just has this really just played its course at this point? And I think Chris Ballard's in that bucket, but I don't know. I don't have the temperature check on where Irsay is at with the state of affairs of the team.
Well, Vontel says they're all gone.
If you're right, spike the ball.
No, Anthony Richardson's the only one back.
Right. If you're right, spike the ball. I don't think that will be the case.
My apologies to Curtis Painter, who last played in the NFL in 2013. So. Sean says the Tampa Bay Bucks are being undervalued right now and will go to the NFC Championship. They are heating up at the right time after a bunch of injuries took them down earlier in the year. They already beat the Lions and Eagles, and he has another one. Ravens will lose in the first round because of defense.
I'm digging this Bucks team. And they're going to finish at Dallas, home against Carolina, home against the Saints. They're probably going to be 11-6.
Mm-hmm. So they'll probably be this 3 seed in the NFC.
Will they?
Yeah, because the winner of the North and the winner of the East is going to be 1 and 2.
But will they be the 4 or will they be the 3?
Well, the Rams, that's a fun race because they're both teams. The Rams and the Bucks are both 8-6.
Right. So I think they could feasibly be the 3 or the 4. They
could be the 3 or the 4, which is a big deal because you're either going to, man.
I think if they played Detroit, I think they beat Detroit with where Detroit's defense is at right now. And it's indoors as compared to, if you have to go to Philly, I don't like your odds going to Philly.
So if you're the 4, then you get to play whoever doesn't win the North, Lions or Vikings. If you're the 3, you're probably playing the Packers. So they'd have to win that game.
I kind of
they'd have to probably go beat Philly or Detroit again and then get to the NFC Championship.
I think it's dependent on their second round draw, assuming they win in the. I can see the path for them winning in the divisional round to go to the championship game, but I think that's dependent on not going to Philadelphia to have to play your second round game. I think if that's the case, then I can buy this a little bit. I don't think that they will, but I could see the path for it.
I can see the path. I will not predict that the Bucks are in the NFC Championship. Ravens first round exit. If they're the 5, they're playing Houston. They're not losing to Houston the first round, right?
Right.
Ain't gonna happen. And if they're the 3, then they're hosting somebody. They're not losing at home to the Chargers or the Broncos. Ravens are getting at least the second round. Yeah. Okay, coming up next, fun take on NIL and the draft, and a very important conversation on stake. plus a little Sam Darnold staying in Minnesota. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports, PrizePicks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30 million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, PrizePicks makes it very simple to cash out. You can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes, and they also offer Venmo, which I love. This week, I'm looking at Josh Allen to go more than 252.5 passing yards and Jamar Chase to go more than 89.5 receiving yards against the Browns. It's quick, it's simple, and it's so much fun to challenge myself and my friends. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly when you play just $5. PrizePicks, run your game. It's that time of year. The college football playoff is back, and with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger than and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with the college football playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon. Then the Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Kyle, the name of this account is Tasty Segway.
No, that's not real. So they've combined 2 bits that we have on the show into one swift action. Am I picking that up correctly?
I don't want to speak for them.
Seems like it.
But the name of the account is Tasty Segway.
Okay.
Now, the username is.
We've had tasty bets, and we've had excellent segues this week on the program.
Yeah, their handle is Dolphin, something about dolphins, but like your user, the name that appears, Tasty Segway, who says one of the unintended benefits of the new NIL era in college football is that we're seeing college quarterbacks whose draft stock may not be as high as desired not feel pressured into foregoing any remaining college eligibility in order to simply get drafted and make money. This change has benefited the players by allowing them to continue to improve and mature, or even change schools to maximize and optimize their skill sets as players. More time on task in different situations and environments, in turn, gives NFL teams more valuable insight on the player and potential fit within the organization and scheme. Obviously, there's a downside risk with potential injury or not improving with another year, but it seems to provide more pro-ready quarterbacks than in years past.
It's a bar.
It's a good take.
It's true.
It's a good take.
I mean, and because you're still going to get financially compensated, so it's not like the all or quote unquote nothing proposition exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to use a player, you want to put yourself in position to have success, and I think that happens by doing things not because you want to make the leap, but because you're ready to. And if you're not ready to, some of these guys have the opportunity to go back for an additional year and get as close to ready as you can get. And then I think probably get valued more appropriately and proportionately, which is a good thing too. So I'm all in on this thing.
I am as well. And I think it's easy to look at somebody like maybe Drew Aller, right, who didn't come out with Penn State. And you're like, yeah, good for him, right? He'll stay, he'll optimize, he'll improve. That's all good. I also think about quarterbacks, and whatever you think about these players, but think about a quarterback like Kadon Slovis, okay? Not a player, right? Not a real NFL guy. But he was able to stay in college, transfer to Pitt and BYU after spending 3 years at USC.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably done a lot of good for his financial upstart of his life as a young man, right? So it's certainly there's a benefit to the draft positioning and what it means for the player and what it means for the evaluation opportunity. But even for the guys that are just not going to be NFL guys, they're having a chance to actually make some legit money, even though they're not NFL guys, right, as a college player like Kadon Slovis. And there's guys just like that. Who's this this dude that went to Notre Dame from Duke, Finley, all these guys. Riley's his name. All
Riley
these different.
Leonard. Some people like Riley Leonard. I'm not there with him as a passer, but yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity for him to probably maximize his earning potential this year.
Look at DJU. DJU probably made more on the Bojangles deal than he's going to make in the NFL.
He just declared for the draft.
Is he? Yeah. So there you go. I think I think that's tasty segue. Very, very good take there. And
yeah,
we have to come to an acceptance level of what college football is right now. And I've learned a lot through kind of monitoring the Bill Belichick to North Carolina stuff and really just allowing that to open my mind to think about, what the real dynamics are and what the potential benefits are. And I think it's more competitive across the board. Like, yeah, there's the annoying factor of getting players that are going to sign scholarships and commit that are not going to stay there the whole time. Like I understand all of that. And the fandom piece of college football is probably very difficult, but from what we do, probably really good, man. Probably really good.
Can I give you a take that I have?
Of course.
I have the Buffalo Bills will finish as the AFC's number 1 seed.
Where are the losses coming from the Chiefs, man? They got to lose 2.
Yeah.
Well, you picked them to lose to Houston, so there's 1.
I mean, they play Houston in Pittsburgh on a short week, and then they play the Broncos in Denver.
See, I think they beat Denver and Houston.
They should have lost to Denver the first time. Playing in Pittsburgh on a short week is not a small thing. And Pat's banged up, and Houston's got a good defense. Like I think there are 3 winnable but simultaneously losable games for a team that's had unbelievable fortunes the majority of the season.
Yeah, I hear you. If the Bills would have beat the Rams, then I think they would lose 1. 2's where I get hung up. But obviously, spike the ball, Kyle Krabs. Spike the ball.
That's my take.
Zach coming in hot here. I like this take a lot. He says, if you do not sear a steak before putting it on the grill, you are wasting a steak.
Yeah.
I've evolved so much with my meat cooking, and in particular with steak. I don't even put it on the grill. I am only sear, a cast iron skillet with a sear. And the only thing I put on it is I put like some quality salt and let it kind of take a salt bath for a while. And of course, get it to room temperature. I sear for 90 seconds on each side with a 5-minute break, 90 seconds each side with at least a 5-minute break, and then I eat it. I might make a sauce to go with it. But like I used to be like smash the Montreal steak seasoning, toss it on the grill. Like, no, I've learned that the best part of a steak is actually the crust. So I'm in on this.
Anytime you can get a steak take for Joe, please do so. So we'll take all your steak takes.
Hey, you got to let that thing rest, man. That's another thing that I've learned. You got to let that thing rest. You want to eat it. Let that thing rest for at least as long as you cooked it. Redistributes all of that good, juicy stuff throughout the meat.
90 seconds? Let it cook for 90 seconds? Or let it sit for 90 seconds? Or are you saying it takes a grand total of 8 minutes because of 90 seconds on each side and then the 5-minute break in the middle? So let it rest for 8 minutes before you eat it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But I only wind up cooking it for a total of 6 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Connor, this is crazy to me. The solution in Minnesota is to not let Sam Darnold walk to the Titans. He mentions the Titans. It's to keep Darnold and trade JJ to Tennessee. Letting Darnold walk after seeing how your offense operates with him at such a high level would be inexcusable and, frankly, malpractice.
He feels very strongly about it.
He does.
I respect it. I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
I like JJ McCarthy, dude.
I like JJ McCarthy too.
I'll go out and say it. I'm an absolute coward. He was my favorite quarterback coming out, and I was an absolute coward for not putting him at number 1. I'm excited to see what that guy can do with his tools with Kevin O'Connell. Sam Darnold's having a great year, but I still think that there's situations with Sam Darnold where he doesn't feel his internal clock's off. He doesn't feel when he's hot. Like I think he's playing really, really well, but I'd be nervous about that long term, especially when you have an upside with JJ. And also, if it doesn't work with JJ, I think with Kevin O'Connell, you probably feel some level of comfort that you're not that far away from finding another guy that can play quarterback for you, you know?
And there's the timeline of which you have to make a decision and the timeline of the opportunity cost that the Vikings have to weigh out as well. So if you sign Sam Darnold, what do you sign Sam Darnold for?
Right.
What is the cost?
That's a freaking good point, right? You have this window of cheap quarterback.
Ramifications versus 3 years on a definitive rookie contract plus a 5th-year option year that and the first year of an extension, if you get an extension, are going to be dramatically and fractionally less than what you'd have to pay Sam Darnold starting next year.
Excellent point, Kyle Krabs. Okay, coming up on the other side of it, somebody is challenging us, and I'm happy about it. I want to have the conversation. Okay. We'll do the Jets Mike Vrabel thing here as well. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses, including Constitution 101, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or simply just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. All right, so Joe at work takes exception with a response that we had last week. So let me read this to you. We'll talk about it. And I take exception with his exception, so we'll get to it. Joe at work, last week in response to Packers Ban 2010, the take that the playoff seeding should be record dependent, you stated the rules are pretty well established and have been for a really long time. When your number one reason is that's the way we've always done it, you don't have a good reason. Bad take. The argument that winning the division should get an automatic home playoff game is lame. The league is punishing good teams in great divisions and rewarding bad teams in crappy divisions. Anyone want to hang a banner for winning the NFC South this year? Calling you out, dudes.
Okay.
If I may.
Go ahead.
This is my thing. We didn't, at least the spirit of what I tried to communicate last week, and my apologies if it didn't come across the way that I intended. My thought process wasn't necessarily this is the way that it's always been, so that's the way that it should be. My point that I tried to make was that this is how it is established. And so the idea of like right now going with a different order of playoff seeding because the Packers are really good and they're going to be third in their division, that doesn't make sense to me because the way that the schedule exists, the way that, you play your division games, but then there's also games that are dependent on the previous order. It's all because of the division. So if you want to get rid of that structure, fine, cool. We can have that conversation. But my interpretation of the take was that this is ridiculous that the Packers are third. They should be higher, or Minnesota should be higher, like to call an audible right now. Like that's what I try to communicate because I feel like that would be inappropriate. If you think it's better to do it this way, I'm open to that. But that wasn't my intent, was to be like, well, that's the way it is. It's the way it should be.
Okay. What is the league's number one objective, Joe?
To win the Super Bowl.
No. What is the league
to make money? To make money.
Okay. What is the league's number two objective? The NFL is a more blank-driven league than any other league in professional sports.
Quarterback. Man, I'm striking out left and right.
You're
what do you want me to say?
I appreciate your swinging. They want to be a parity-driven league. Okay, they want every team to have a chance every single year. You don't do that by putting 16 teams into a bucket and saying, go ahead, we're going to be merit-driven exclusively within your conferences for seeding purposes. They want to put you in smaller buckets and smaller brackets to give every team a better chance of hosting home playoff games and having wins. And it's a meritocracy within the structure to try to facilitate not the same teams every single year, right?
Is that working?
Not when it's a quarterback-driven league, but you see X amount of teams that have turnover. And the New York Giants won a playoff game in Minnesota, right? Recently, right? That was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
there's cash incentives for the owners of having home playoff games. And I know a lot of that revenue is shared, but there's other opportunities that come with having additional games and having home games that are additional games. So I think you're getting into just the dynamic of the wins and loss record and getting away from some of the big picture objectives that the league wants to try to afford all teams an equal opportunity to have in theory. And by just saying we're going to seed the teams based off how many games you win every year, I think that gets away from some of that.
I agree with you. I think what complicates that is when we do see certain teams have death grips on divisions. Mahomes in Kansas City, Brady forever in the East. You know, sure. When you have that type of stuff going on, you kind of, it flies in the face. And we lived this for 20 years, dude. Like when you're trying to take down Tom Brady in your division, you're just spinning your tires for however long he's in there. And you're never like actually committed to any type of a path that's going to be sustainable to have enough continuity to do it.
So you literally just have to bide your time until player X retires and opens a window.
Right.
Or player X leaves. Let me ask you this. Just to drive that point further home. Can you name for me the quarterbacks that have won the AFC East since 2001?
Brady.
Yep.
Allen.
Yep.
It wasn't Castle, right? Like, was it that was that the year the Dolphins won it? Who was their quarterback?
Chad Pennington.
Pennington.
Okay. Jets won it in 2002.
In 2002, who the frick was their quarterback?
Last time they won the division.
Who the heck was the Jets quarterback in 2000?
Chad Pennington.
Pennington won it with two different teams?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
That's it. Since 2001, the AFC East has had three quarterbacks that have won the division.
Insane.
Just to drive home your point. And there's some divisions, the South, the AFC South. I mean, the NFC East didn't have consecutive winners for like 15 years.
Right. You just got to avoid that guy being in there.
Lucky me.
And I think, no, but respectfully, that the fact that you're sitting here with that argument as the team that is in the situation that it's in is pretty telling to me, at least. You should want this, right? But it doesn't feel like you do.
In theory.
Yeah.
But no, I think the objectives that the league wants to afford all 32 teams an in theory equal opportunity to have, having bigger ponds to seed teams for playoff purposes does not achieve that.
Believe says Mike Vrabel is hired as the Jets head coach and is the only defensive background guy to get a head coaching job in 2025.
Well, I'll fade both of these.
Me too. It's aggressive, and I like that. But
yeah,
like I go in on Vrabel because I think you have some great points here.
So Mike Vrabel, things didn't work out in Tennessee down the stretch because they changed from John Robinson to Rand Carthon, and it sounded like there was some element of a power struggle organizationally in how much control and say the coach was going to have versus the executive, and that power struggle with the owner. And the owner picked Rand Carthon, right? So if I'm Mike Vrabel and I take my sabbatical year and I'm a consultant for the Browns this year, and I come back out and it sounds like he's going to be like the buzzy top three. Now, Bill Belichick's presumably out of the pool this year, right? His buyout's $10 million if it's before June 1st or whatever it is. So probably not going to happen for Bill this year. That removes like the buzzy veteran coach name from the pool. And that makes Mike the guy that's got a proof of concept with being a player's coach who likes to play a physical brand of football and is off the Patriots tree, but not really off the Patriots tree. He's going to be so in demand.
Yeah.
And I think the challenges that face the Jets as an organization from the ownership influence of that team are going to make it a very unattractive job for the guy who's probably going to get an offer from any team that he realistically is mildly interested in taking the job for.
Kyle Krabs, your ability to be tactful remains undefeated. You are incredible.
I'm being very nice, but
You are, but I've known you for a long time, and your ability to phrase things like that, unmatched. Absolutely
just trying to be nice.
Unmatched. We finished this with this one. Dolphins craze. Take. Gingerbread cookies are terrible.
If you gave me buckets of all the different kinds of Christmas cookies to eat, I would never pick a gingerbread cookie.
Correct. Not worth the calories,
You
baby.
can like maybe soak it in milk every once in a while. But it's an acquired taste. It's hard. I'll eat a gingerbread house before I eat a gingerbread cookie.
You get a little bit of some weird candies mixed in.
I get all kinds of icings, and so I've been nitpicking at the one in our house. I do break off a piece of the house, see how long it happens before anybody notices that half of one of the walls is gone.
They're going after it. My wife's big on gingerbread cookies, and I feel so bad. She works so hard on them, and I just don't want them. And the thing is, like, nobody in my family really likes them, so she just makes them. And I think she just likes to make them. Nobody's eating these cookies.
Yeah, let people like things, but at the same time,
no, not those calories. Those are not the calories I'm taking in, brother. No way.
Right. All right, that's going to do for us here on the show. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino, we appreciate you guys checking out Takes on Takes and Locked on NFL Scouting. We do Takes on Takes every Friday. We hope you come back and join us on Mondays. We break down all the action from NFL Week 16, first round of college football playoff. So we're getting into the end game now, and we'll be here on Monday, cover all the action that takes place this weekend. We hope to see you then. That's going to do for us this week. We're out of here.